Hello, class. Welcome to our presentation on critical thinking. I hope that you enjoy our time together and that you learn a lot. This is a very, very important topic that is a prerequisite to anything that you do with process improvement. So let's continue. Critical thinking is thinking about thinking or knowing about knowing. A more formal definition is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to beliefs and actions. It is also known as a metacognition. The word comes from the Greek. Mega means on top of or beyond, and cognition means to know. The circumstances that demand critical thinking vary from industry to industry. Some examples include a triage nurse who analyzes the cases at hand and decides the order by which the patients should be treated. A plumber evaluates the materials that would best suit a particular job. An attorney reviews evidence and devises a strategy to win a case or to decide whether to settle out of court. Then a customer service manager analyzes customer feedback forms and uses this information to develop a customer service training session for employees. A great way to practice critical thinking is to use an exercise, and this exercise has to do if you were ever a tour guide for an alien. This exercise provides an opportunity for you to think outside your normal way of thinking. Pretend that you have been assigned the task of conducting a tour for aliens who are visiting the Earth and observing human life. You're riding along in a blimp, viewing the landscape below, and you float over a professional baseball stadium. One of the aliens looks down and is very confused by what he sees. You explain that there is a game going on, and he asks several important questions. First, what is a game? Second, why are there no female players? Third, why do people get so excited about watching other people play games? Fourth, what is a team? And fifth, why can't the people in the seats go down on the field and join in on the action? If you try to answer these questions fully, it will quickly become apparent that we carry around certain assumptions and values. We support a certain team, for instance, because it makes us feel like we're part of a community. This sense of community is a value that matters to some people more than others. Furthermore, when trying to explain team sports to an alien, we have to explain the value we place on winning and losing. When you think like an alien tour guide, you are forced to take a deeper look at the things we do and things we value. Sometimes they don't sound logical from the outside looking in. Critical thinking is an effective tool for any profession or task. It forces you to analyze things objectively, filtering out your biases and allowing you to see things from different perspectives, which can improve your creativity. Whether you're trying to brainstorm a new idea, creatively solve an existing problem, or just analyze how and why something went wrong, critical thinking can lead you to better resolutions. However, it's hard to learn how to think critically the same way you learned how to drive a car or fly a kite. This isn't a step-by-step guide you can follow to reach peak critical thinking. Instead, you need to exercise your critical thinking the same way you would a muscle until it gets stronger over time. Take a look at these 7 exercises and practices that can turn anyone into a better critical thinker. First, express yourself in multiple mediums. Different people have different styles of thinking and different styles of learning. You may have a strong preference towards visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learning, which is fine, but if you want to think in new directions, it's important for you to try thinking or at least expressing yourself in different mediums. For example, if you've been talking about a problem out loud, try to diagram it. If you've been staring at charts all day, try to write down your interpretations of them. The new perspective can be quite enlightening. Number 2, talk to a 6-year-old. Einstein is sometimes credited with saying, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself, though the exact attribution is in question. The point of this quote, regardless of who said it, is relevant. Being able to explain an abstract concept in simple terms is both an indication that you have a full understanding of a problem and a way to see it in a new light. Try talking to a 6-year-old about the issue, real or imaginary. You'll quickly discover elements of the subject you don't fully understand and may start thinking about a problem in a new way. Number 3, understand and challenge your biases. Each of us is affected by numerous cognitive biases, some of which affect how we value things and some of which affect how we think. Identifying and challenging these cognitive biases can allow us to work around them. For example, if you know you're affected by confirmation biases, you can specifically look for evidence that contradicts your main assumption. Number 4, work backward. Working on a problem backward can help you see things you might otherwise ignore. As a simple example, proofreading a document sentence by sentence backward can help you more easily identify spelling and grammatical mistakes. Reconstructing a failure from end to beginning, rather than beginning to end, can help you address the true impact of each phase in the sequence. Number 5, ask other people to explain their thought processes. Talk to other people about whatever problem you're trying to solve. It's helpful to get other opinions on solutions to use, but the bigger purpose is to understand their thought processes. Different people have different approaches to the same problem, and understanding these processes can help you refine and expand yours. Number 6, expose yourself to new content and new creators. Similarly, it's good to break out of your comfort zone and expose yourself to new types of content and new creators. Every new author, speaker, or thinker you encounter can teach you something new about the way you think and introduce you to new facts and ideas you can integrate into your own critical thinking. Number 7, experiment with brain teasers and ethical dilemmas. Real ethical dilemmas will always be a problem for professionals, but you can use hypothetical ethical dilemmas and some brain teasers to employ and strengthen your critical thinking skills. Many brain teasers require you to think outside the box to solve them adequately. They pose a good challenge. One of the best things you can do to improve your critical thinking isn't really an exercise, it's an environmental change. If you're surrounded with critical thinkers who freely express their thoughts and share their opinions, you'll be exposed to more sources of knowledge and perspectives and will have access to much better ideas, whether they're yours or someone else's. If you're in a position to hire or build a team, look for people who show strong signs of critical thinking. If not, try to seek critical thinkers elsewhere in a peer group or in a class outside of work. Let's take a look at why employers value critical thinking. Employers want job candidates who can evaluate a situation using logical thinking and offer the best solution. Someone with critical thinking skills can be trusted to make decisions independently and will not need constant hand-holding. Critical thinking abilities are among the most sought-after skills in almost every industry and workplace. You can demonstrate critical thinking by using related keywords in your resume and cover letter, and very importantly, during an interview. There are 5 top critical thinking areas. Let's go through each of the 5 and come up with a few examples. In analysis, part of critical thinking is the ability to carefully examine something, whether it is a problem, a set of data, or a text. People with analytical skills can examine information, understand what it means, and properly explain to others the implications of that information. Some ways to exercise analysis are asking thoughtful questions, performing research, questioning evidence, recognizing patterns, and skepticism. Number 2 is communication. Often you will need to share your conclusions with your employers or with a group of colleagues. You need to be able to communicate with others to share your ideas effectively. You might also need to engage critical thinking in a group. In this case, you'll need to work with others and communicate effectively to figure out solutions to complex problems. Some ways to exercise critical thinking and communication include active listening, assessment, exclamation, making presentations, and of course, verbal and written communication. Then we have creativity. Critical thinkers often involve creativity and innovation. You might need to spot patterns in the information you're looking at or come up with a solution that no one else has thought of before. All of this involves a creative eye that can take a different approach from all other approaches. Examples of this include flexibility, curiosity, imagination, drawing connections, predicting, and synthesizing. And then we have open-mindedness. To think critically, you need to be able to put aside any assumptions or judgments and merely analyze the information you receive. You need to be objective, evaluating ideas without bias. Areas of critical thinking here include fairness, humility, objectivity, and reflection. And then we have problem solving. It's another critical thinking skill that involves analyzing a problem, generating and implementing a solution, and assessing the success of the plan. Employers don't simply want employees who can think about information critically. They also need to be able to come up with practical solutions. The ways to do this include paying attention to detail, evaluating, and innovation. This brings us to a conclusion about our discussion on critical thinking. Some other critical thinking skills that you can use include noticing outliers, having a high level of emotional intelligence, looking for causal relationships, and also using the scientific method. I hope you enjoyed our time together today.